welcome everybody. This is the course video for the 15U, Amateur, 40 Plus, and the Pro. There are going to be slight differences between the Amateur and the 40, and then the 15 and the Pro. This is going to be the general go-over of the course. We will talk about all those differences the day of at the walkthrough. We're going to start with the first obstacle. Oh, sorry. There are 13 obstacles and 27 points. For the 15U and the Pro, that is going to be 24 points. They're just going to be slightly changed, but we will go over that at that time. Okay, our first obstacle is going to be hardcore parkour. This is a 2-point obstacle. You're going to start on the 10-foot wall for the Amateur and the 40. The 15U and the Pro are going to be starting on this wall, but you are going to get onto the canes and you're going to surf them down however you want to get to this pad. This is your first point pad. The second point, you're going to get onto this cane, and your second point is when you reach this black pad at the far end. That is going to be the first obstacle, 2 points. Next obstacle, depending on which wall is open, for the 15 and the Pro, it's going to be the 10. For the Amateur and the 40, it's going to be the 8-foot. Second obstacle, 1 point, 8-foot warped wall, no hands. You're going to start from back here on a black landing pad and run and get all 4 limbs on top of the wall without using your hands. Just a quick run up and you're up. And that is your point. And then you come on down. That is obstacle number 2. Obstacle number 3, low-hanging fruit. Your starting platform is going to be this black pad. You are then going to get onto the trapeze and work your way down the low-hanging objects. Some of the holds will be switched out for the Amateur and the Pro as we go through. Your first point is when you get to the 3rd ring or object that's hanging here. That's your first point. Your second point is on or past your landing platform, which is here. That is 2 points, and that is your 3rd obstacle. 4th obstacle, 2 points. 4th obstacle is 3 points, Spider Avenue, so sorry. Your starting platform is going to be the same as the previous one. You're going to jump into the small spider climb. Once you get into the small spider climb, you are going to go over the gray wall and into Spider Alley. There's carpet back here, so treat this as the floor. You are not touching anything. You're going to get into position in Spider Alley and go all the way down. You can use your hands, that's fine. There's a bell. This is going to be your second point. Ring the bell. That's your second point. You're coming down here, coming up into the tall spider climb, working your way down. And once you get here, this is going to be your 3rd point. That is Spider Avenue. It is going to be slightly different for the 15U and the Pro. Your ending platform is being in the wall. As soon as you get into the tall wall like this, that is, you are finished, and that is the completion of that obstacle, but it is also the start of the next obstacle. The next obstacle is called 3-in-1. The 40 Plus and the Amateur are going to start on these pads, and they are going to jump up to the salmon ladder, which is going to be on the 1st rung. They're then going to transfer the salmon ladder. Your first point is once you get your salmon ladder bar onto the 1st rung of this, or just a transfer. It can be on either rung. You are then going to work your way down, all the way down, nunchucks, or different holds. Your second point is when you get to the small cannonball. Then you're going to work your way down the right side of the alleyway. Amateur and 40 Plus are going to be using these holds. 15U and Pro are going to be using the vertical limit on the back. You are then going to work your way all the way down, cones to your landing platform, which is going to be this blue pad right here, and that is the end of that obstacle. Working our way back for the pro and the 15U. When you are in the wall and you are starting this obstacle, you are jumping to this blue bar, and your salmon ladder is going to be up here. You are then going to want to bring this down, and then that's when you are going to transfer over. And there is going to be another salmon ladder bar on this side. I am not a pro, so I cannot demonstrate that. Your first point is when you get the salmon ladder transferred to this first rung. You can start on whichever rung you want, but the first point is here. You are then going to elevator both salmon ladder bars up until you get to the 5th rung. And once both bars are on the 5th rung, that is your point. Then you are going to transfer on down to this trapeze and go across with something that is similar to this but not. And then once you get here, that is your 3rd point, vertical limit, all the way to the end, 4th point. It is going to be slightly different from amateur to 40 and 15U to pro. It's not as difficult, I'm just horrible at explaining. Next obstacle, we have minefield gauntlet. You're going to start on this black pad, and you are going to use anything, but you don't have to use everything. This is a 2-point obstacle. You're getting from here to the blue pad down at the far end. Any touch of the ground, you got to watch what you really step on. Your first point is going to be when you reach this halfway mark, which is either going to be this ring or another object. It will be marked 1 point. You're going to then work your way all the way down. Second point is when you get to this blue pad right here. This is your finishing platform. That is minefield gauntlet, 2 points. Next, this is also going to be slightly different for the amateurs in the 40 and the 15U in the pro. You are going to start on the buckets. The amateur and the 40 are going to start here, and you're going to dyno up. That's your first point. You're then going to work your way over. Then you get your both hands on the blue bar, and that is your other point. From there, you are going to go on to the next obstacle, but this right here is going to be your finishing point for this obstacle. First point when you reach the jug, second point when you reach here. 15U in the pros, you are going to be dynoing from the buckets up to the dyno bar. And once you land, both hands on, that is your point. That's the 1-pointer, and this is also going to be the starting position for the next obstacle. Our next obstacle is going to be windy pass. There will be a big blue bag over here to be on the safe side, because safety concerns are important. You are going to go from the blue bar to the clothes hanger. This clothes hanger moves a lot, so be careful. There will be a blue pad here for you. After you get to that clothes hanger, you are going to then, that is your first point. Both hands on that clothes hanger is your first point for windy pass. You're going to work your way down all the way to the end. Getting a hand on the blue bar is going to be your second point. That is windy pass, and we will go over more details the day of. As soon as you're done with that, obstacle number 9, we have make your mark. You are going to start full distance run up to 16 foot. There it is. Sorry, my phone's not working. Your first point for the amateur and the 40 is when you hit the 14-foot mark. Your second point is when you hit the 15-foot mark. For the 15U and the pro, Your first point is when you reach the 15-foot mark. Your second point is when you get your head and your chin over the lip of the wall. Once you hear the clear, then you can come on down and move on to the next obstacle. That is going to be a 2-point obstacle. Obstacle number 10, beat that wall. We're doing the 14-foot from the base. You are going to be starting in this little boxed-in area, running up the 14-foot from the base. You have 3 chances. You have the 13-foot mark for the amateurs in the 40. That's your first point. Getting your chin over the top of the 14-foot wall is going to be your second point. 15U and pro, your first point is if you, your first point and your only point for this one is going to be, why did I forget this? Yeah, you have 1 point. The pro and the 15U. The amateur and the 40, this is a 2-pointer. 15U and the pro, you have to get your chin up over the lip to get the point, but you have 3 runs. And that is obstacle number 10. After that, you're going to come over here. Your next obstacle is going to be rickety bridge. This is a 2-pointer. The difference, we'll just run through this. Your starting platform is going to be right here, and that's for everybody. You walk down the slack line. Your first point comes from when you touch the rolling log, and your second point comes from when you land on your ending platform. The difference is, amateur and 40 plus, you can use the middle platforms and the ending platforms, okay? Your point comes from when you touch this, but you can use these platforms. The landing platform is here. Amateur and 40 plus can put pressure on this if need be. The 15U and the pro, this is your starting platform. No use of middle platforms. No use of middle platforms. This is your landing pad. So for everybody, starting and ending, 15U pro, no pads, amateur 40, you can use the platforms. And that is obstacle number 11. Obstacle number 12, we have links and anchors. This is going to be a 2-pointer for the amateur. Sorry, 3-pointer for both, or for everybody. You're going to start up here. You're going to lâcher from red bar to blue bar, and then lâcher from blue bar to blue bar. The next is going to be to the anchors. That is your first point is going to be when you hit the blue bar for the amateur and the 40. For the pro and the 15U, your first point is when you get to the rings. Second point is getting both rings onto the second anchor. And for the pro and the 15U, your last point is going to be getting to the last cliffhanger box. The amateur and the 40 plus do not have to get to the cliffhanger box. You guys in once your rings are on the anchors. Once I say clear, then you are going to drop down and move on to the next obstacle. 15U and pro, once you hear the clear and once you make it to the cliffhanger, matching hands on the cliffhanger and control, you'll hear the clear. That is the next obstacle, and that is obstacle number 12. Obstacle number 13. We are starting on this trapezoid over here. We are going to have logs in an arrangement. This is not how they're going to be arranged. They're going to be arranged differently. You are going to go from this pad all the way to the last pad with a halfway mark. No touching the ground. You're going to want to use this in just about every single one of them. They're all going to be in disarray. Your first point, there's going to be a log with tape on it, and that log with tape on it is going to be your first point. Your second point is when you get to this black pad right here and hit the buzzer. The second point is when you hit the buzzer, not the black pad. You've got to hit the buzzer. That's your second point. And that is log roll graveyard. And that's our course.